one of the most important topics in construction, the material handling, conveyor belts, hose, hoists, and cranes. This is the subject. It looks very dry subject, but actually it's very important. Lot to discuss on this subject today with you all. Uh, we all know how a construction site looks like in the cover page here. Most of the materials are handled by machines, unlike earlier. So we are going to discuss about how this transformation took place and what are all those machines that we use in material handling. Way back in 2007, I remember we organized one workshop on mechanization in construction in 2007 under the aegis of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers. So I am the organizer for that. In fact, I have seen that transition those days, about 13 years back, that construction sites can no longer depend on labor. And currently we are seeing how challenging it is handling the labor. I mean, in a pandemic situation like this, we have seen utter confusion in construction sites. When there was lockdown, labor were held up in the site, and when the unlock one has started, labor have migrated back to their places. And now we are seeing in most of the construction sites, there are no workers available to do the projects. So it is high time every construction site should start looking at mechanization. And people tell me why you are trying to mechanize when we have many labor. Actually, there is huge labor shortage. I always tell in every construction site that I handle, the project delays are on account of lack of mobilization of manpower on the sites. And without a pandemic like this itself, we used to have this problem. And now we are seeing most of the construction sites are stuck because of lack of labor. So today I'll be covering on this topic. Overview is introduction, applications of these material handling systems, and earthwork is the biggest thing in material handling because nowadays most of the sites we have deep excavation or leveling of the sites and all. Basically, material handling is about lifting, shifting, moving. This is the or shifting, lifting, moving, and transportation. We also deal with the driving. This basically comes in piling. We do the precast piles driving nowadays. So that also comes under material handling. And next is the pulling. We do the in transmission towers, which I'll be covering in the due course. In transmission towers, we have these cables. So that how do we erect these cables? We'll have the stringing machines, or we call it pulling. And the placing is another thing, picking and placing. Pumping is another method of material handling. So these are all the various topics I'll be covering in my talk today. So let us talk about what is material handling. Material handling is the function of moving the right material to the right place in the right time, in the right amount, in sequence, and in the right condition in construction projects, manually or mechanically. So today we'll be covering about mechanical handling of these materials. So actually this definition is also applicable to lean construction, which I'll be covering again in the due course. Lean construction actually means the right material into the right place in the right time. That means shortest distance. If you track the movement of the material, it should be the shortest distance actually. So that is all about lean construction, apart from communication. Now let us see what is material handling in projects. So this is the thing. Any material starts from mining. You take any material, whether it is flooring, whether it is masonry, whether it is concrete, whether it is steel, even our doors, windows nowadays, the metal doors and metal windows, UPVC, all this starts with the mining. Then we do mine, load it onto a conveyor or transport it, stack it. Again, from the stacked position, you transport it, process it, pack it, and again load it, transport it, again unload at the site, store at the site, and shift in the site, process again, and load again, transport and place. So see how many transports are there in any material. Starting, let us take example of cement. Cement starts with the mining of the lime, actually, lime deposits. So, we mine the lime, take it to the cement plant, and stack it, and then transport it, process that lime to the crusher and all that. Finally, process it, pack into the bags, load into the again truck, transport it to the site, unload at the site, store at the site, and again shift the cement for mixing process and all that, concrete or mortar, and then load it to and transport it and place it at the right place. So many shifting of the material, right from mining till ultimate use of this cement in concrete. So we have to think of this loading and transporting, picking and placing. These are the process that we talk about in the material handling. So any project cost, if you are looking at, almost 30% of the project cost goes into material handling only. Right from, like, if you are buying cement bag at the, oh, there is a, okay. Sorry, actually I've opened Facebook in my mobile, so maybe that is causing echo. I hope now it's okay. Bhujangar, is the echo stopped? Okay. Bhaskar, can you confirm whether there is echo? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So now 30% of the any project cost, we are talking about cement, for example. So cement, when we mine it, we pay the royalty for the mining, and then we have to take the cost of loading, transport, stacking, and then will be, so if you can estimate the cost of cement also, like that is even steel. It is all about energy, transport, handling costs only, any material that we are talking about, apart from labor, profit and overheads and taxes. So if we are talking about a project cost of 1,000 rupees per square feet, let us say 300 rupees we are spending on material handling only. So the project cost efficiency depends on efficiency in handling, reducing the rehandling of the material and the retracking of the path of the movement of the material. So this is the thing every engineer has to think to plan efficiently the material handling, actually. So let us look at how much material we are handling. In any building of 10,000 square meters or 1 lakh square feet, the average weight, dead weight of the materials that we use in construction is about 1 to 1.5 ton per square meter. That means the overall weight of the structure is 1 lakh square feet structure will be anything about 10,000 to 15,000 metric tons. So we are moving 10,000 tons of material from its source to the site, and within the site from the stores to actual usage, actually. So imagine how much cost it goes to in handling 10,000 tons or 15,000 tons of material. So we have to plan all the equipment efficiently. And a bridge, if you take a bridge of 4 lanes, about 1 kilometer long, it will weigh about 40,000 metric tons. So handling of, so we'll be talking about this bridge material handling also. Highways, We have 4-lane highway. If you take 1 kilometer of highway, there will be material handling of about 40,000 metric tons, whether it is excavation, shifting of the earth and filling back, and formation of the crust, and then the final finishing coat. So this is the cost that is going into material handling actually, 40,000 metric tons. So in material handling, we have in excavation, leveling, grading. We use the machines for grading, embankment, transportation of this earthwork, earth, and then material collection, stacking, loading, shifting, placing, piling. We also use material handling in piling, particularly precast piling. And then we have stringing of cables, confined area. That means in a construction site, if you have entire site, we will be having the material movement everywhere from any point x1, y1, z1 to x2, y2, z2. We have to move the material. So we have to plan the material movement from any point to any point. So we have in material handling different movements, like we have linear movement, we have planar movement, and we have three-dimensional movement. So whatever equipment we talk about, linear means, let us say a train or a tracked dumper. Track dumper is a linear movement, and the planar movement means a hoist, which will have a planar movement within the plane. And then we have a three-dimensional movement, like we have a crane or EOT crane in industry. They are all three-dimensional movement. And then mining also use bulk material handling systems, and conveying of after mining, you have to convey the material and stack it somewhere. So coal, wagon tipplers, conveyors, pipe conveyors, rope conveyors are all the various material handling systems that we can come across actually as civil engineers. So we should be all aware of all these systems. Bulk material handling, pumping. Nowadays, like fly ash. Fly ash, they mix in water to do the pumping, or we have a dry pumping also. So that's why it's called fly ash. And bucket dropping, dumpers, monorails, electrically operated overhead cranes, UOTs, tower cranes, crushers, silos. Crushers means we use the crushers for aggregates, coarse aggregate or fine aggregate. We use these crushers. They are also very important. Where there is a lot of material handling. You get the boulders, you mine the boulder, and you crush them, and you move it and sieve it and all that, and finally load it into the truck and get it to the site or batching plant. So crushers, silos for storage of the material. Silo also in a way it handles the material, so it comes under material handling. Batching plants, we use all these silos and conveyors, and we have hot mix plants for highway projects where also we use a lot of poor display. Tippers also we use for transportation of the material. So these are all the various material handling systems. You can see starting from handling the drums. We use the forklifts for shifting of the material, and how we move the drums to the silos in batching plant, how we load the material into the silo, and from the silo how we take it to the process, and even all this type of material, various types of material handling system. We should all be aware of all these material handling systems. This is lifting. We have these collapsible stools, and we have these the forklifts and trawlers for moving the material. So these are all semi-manual movement of the materials we will use in construction sites or industrial or workshops actually, whatever we use in workshops. So here we can see material handling like transit mixers, we have the loaders, we have the dumpers, and we have the cranes, heavy capacity cranes, telescopic cranes, and all that. And so this is the forklift, which is used in construction site, in stores for loading the material and moving the material, lifting the material and moving the material. And we use the cranes in the construction site. So we should be aware of categories of the cranes. So we have these jib cranes, we have these bridge cranes, we have these gantry cranes, we have these stacker cranes. So these are all the types of cranes we use in construction sites. Mostly you see this kind of crane in gantry cranes in what you call precast yards nowadays. We have, whether it is a bridge precasting or building precasting, you need to move the material, stack the material, precast elements and all. So we use this gantry cranes which can move, and the spans can be as large as 20 meters, 30 meters for these gantries. Next, in the material handling, most important are these hooks and pulleys. Actually, we use this kind of hooks and pulleys for lifting the material, picking the material, and moving the material. These hooks are placed on the crane, and they will move these materials. So normally, material handling manually used to be done in almost all the projects in olden days. Of course, even 100 years back, there were cranes actually, but limited use. In very large projects, they used to use. Otherwise, most of the projects had manual material handling. For small size, nowadays, for small size construction projects, still people are using manual material handling. We see in a small sites in even cities like 500 square yards, 1,000 square yards kind of sites, people are still using on-site mixing of concrete. They are not using ready-mix concrete, though it is available. So there you will have a lot of manual material handling. Limited to weight of material, because manual handling, you can at the most lift and shift about 20 kgs of material. Imagine how many people are required to shift 1 ton of material at a time. So it is a huge manual labor required. And short distance also, people use this manual labor. And where transport facilities are not available also, the people use, but I used mechanization even in remotest projects in the border of our India. So it is possible to use nowadays the mechanization in any site. So where labor resources are more, which is a myth actually, labor resources are more is not happening nowadays. So we can see these pictures, very pathetic people. I mean, why a human being should carry that kind of weight? So it is really tough handling the material like this. So manual shifting, manual lifting is a we should avoid. As engineers, we should always encourage mechanization and manpower. People talk about manpower to be utilized. Even if you do mechanize, there will be same manpower required, but in different ways actually. So we should convert this kind of labor into a more dignified labor, machine operators and engineering and engineers kind of thing. So mechanical material handling is done in the most of the huge construction projects. So proper use of appropriate equipment contributes to economy, quality, safety, speed, and timely completion of the project. And equipments are used for highway projects, irrigation, buildings, power projects also. And 15 to 30% of total project cost has been accounted towards equipment and machinery. So this is the very important point. So this is a typical picture of a site nowadays. You can see all the machines, all the transport vehicles, and all the cranes. So we should plan the construction site such that we cover the entire site by this movement of these jibs in the cranes. And at any height, so we have different types of cranes which we'll be covering today. So this is the picture of past and present. I mean, we see in the movies also, olden movies, whether it is any language, we used to see a song. Once a construction site is shown, a song with the people carrying the material on head loads. And now You can see this is a typical picture. In fact, a photograph of Kaleswaram project. So you hardly see any people here. Transit mixers being the concrete, they pump with the boom placers, and all shuttering is engineered shuttering, and you place the concrete here. So this is the change, paradigm shift in construction projects. Even building projects, we see the same scenario. We have to mechanize 90% of the movement of the materials nowadays, whether by weight or by the total handling distance. So coming to the earth moving, we have earth moving equipment, we have hauling equipment, we have hoisting equipment in the classification of equipment. And in earth moving, we have power shovels, backhoes, drag lines, clamshells, scrappers, bulldozers. These are all the machines that we use. I always say nowadays civil engineers should, when we are planning contract, we must first decide the mechanization, level of mechanization, and incorporate the machinery required in the project site and even keep it in the pre-qualification. So that's why we must all be very well aware of the machinery required for each of the operation and their capacities. We can get the capacities and operation levels and costs of these things through the catalogs. So power shovel is to excavate the earth and to load onto the trucks, capable of excavating all types of size varies from 0.375 cubic meters to 5 cubic meters. So, so much of range is available. Basic parts of this power shovel include track system, that is for the movement, cabin, cables, rack, stick, boom, foot pin, saddle block, boom, boom point, sheaves, and bucket. So suitable for close range works and capable of digging very hard materials and can remove, sorry, yeah, can remove big size boulders also, and it is used in various types of jobs such as digging in gravel banks, clay pits, digging cuts in road works and roadside bumps. So this is how a typical shovel looks, power shovel. And backhoe, also known as hoe, back shovel, and pull shovel. It is used to excavate below the natural surface on which it rests, and generally used to excavate trenches, pits, basements, and also gradients required, which requires precise control of depth. The basic parts are boom, jack boom, boom foot, drum, boom sheave, stick bucket, and bucket sheave. So it is also most suitable for machine for digging below the machine level, such as trenches, footings, basements, etc. To dress or trim the surface, we can use it for fine dressing also. So this is the backhoe machine. And JCB, we call it JCB mostly, but technical name is backhoe. Next is the drag line. The drag line is so named because of its prominent operation of dragging the bucket against the material to be dug. And unlike the shovel, it has a long light crane boom. That means you can stretch to the any place, and the bucket is loosely attached to the boom through cables. And because of this construction, a drag line can dig and dump over larger distances than a shovel can do. So that is the difference. So whenever you have a long lead, you can use this. And drag lines are useful for digging below track level also and handling softer materials. It's not used for hard materials. You can see this. And the basic parts of the drag line include the boom, hoist cable, and drag cable, hoist chain, and drag chain, and bucket. So this is the photograph of the drag line applications are, it is the most suitable machine for dragging softer material and below its track level. It is also useful for excavating trenches. It has long reaches, and it is mostly used in excavation for canals and deposit, because canals width will be higher, so you can embankment without hauling units actually. So you can excavate and form it on the embankment directly. So this is the, even in crushers, we can use this drag line. Next is the clamshell. This is so named due to resemblance of bucket to clam, which is like a shellfish with a hinged double shell. The front end is essentially a crane boom, which is with a specially designed bucket loosely attached to the. So the capacity of clamshell bucket is usually given in cubic meter, and the basic parts of the clamshell bucket are closing line, hoist line, sheaves, brackets, drag line. So this is the clamshell. Like it can pick any stone or boulder, move it and place it. So it moves like a clam, and it can also be fixed with this anchor. So it is used for loose materials such as crushed stone, sand, gravel, coal, etc. And main feature is vertical lifting of the material from one location to another location. You can shift it also. And mainly used for removing material from coffer dams, sewer manholes, well foundations, etc. So you can pick it easily. So this is the clamshell placing the earth and picking the earth and placing the earth. Scrappers, this is mainly used for highways and runways where large stretches we have to existing surface to be dug, and long distance hauling of plough able material, and self-operating machine. It is not dependent on other equipment. Wheels of machine cause some compaction. The basic part of scrappers are a bowl, apron, and tailgate or ejector. So this is the scraper. So you can see the earth can be removed at a larger surface area, and it can be spread and leveled. So formation of the subgrade in highways and in runways, also it can be used. Next is the bulldozer. The heavy blade attached to the tractor pushes the material from one place to the other. So bulldoze. So we use it in literary sense also. Bulldoze. So it's very popular. The tractor can be of a crawler or a wheel type. So different types of bulldozers. So we have. Yeah, I'll take all the questions towards the end, please. Bulldozers in which the blade perpendicular to the direction of the movement. That is, this is the blade and it is perpendicular to the direction of the movement. Angle dozers in which the blade is set at an angle with the direction of the movement. So that means you can push it to the sides by this angle dozers. And based on mounting, we have wheel mounted bulldozers and crawl mounted bulldozers. And based on control, we have cable controlled and hydraulically controlled. So this is a bulldozer wheel mounted, you can see, which is mostly used in highways and runways. And so here you can see the bulldozer spreading the earth. Next is the hauling equipment. The equipment used for transportation of material are known as hauling equipment, or simply haulers. Haulers may operate on the roadways and railways, and it involves transportation of building material, carriage and disposal of earthwork, excavated earth, haulage of heavy construction equipment. These are classified on the basis of method of dumping the load. So we have dump trucks, side or rear dump trucks, and bottom dump trucks, and dumpers. We have the dumpers also. So dump trucks, these are used for earth moving purpose. The selection of the type of dump trucks for specific, in fact, we specified in many projects what is the capacity required, how many dump trucks are required, depending on the quantity to be handled. So when we schedule the project, we have to consider all these resources and specify those resources in our document, and insist on mobilization of these equipment for achieving our target. So recently I went to a site wherein the engineer on site was answering, "Sir, this is a fast track project. That is why we could not have the material readily on site. So we had to use the wrong material." I mean, that's not an engineering answer. So similarly, when we do the fast track project, we have to estimate the machine required, the capacity of these machines required, their productivity levels, and then plan the schedule. It's not just using Primavera or MS Project that is planning actually. In planning, we must know, we must be able to visualize the whole project, what is the material movement, and how the material will be moved cost effectively in the time bound manner and efficiently, and then plan our schedule. And in the schedule, we should define all these machines that are required so that our schedule will be realistic and achievable within the cost estimate that we are doing. So in the cost estimate, we have to consider the capital cost of these machines. That is how we should decide the mobilization advance even, because it costs to mobilize all these equipments to the site. So these are heavy duty trucks with a strongly built body which is hinged on the truck, and these trucks are suitable for use in hauling wet clay, sand, gravel, quarry rock, etc. You can see this is a very important topic actually. Even when I drafted this, I thought why I am putting this for civil engineers. But for civil engineers, because we don't study mechanical, we must be aware of all these machines so that we'll be able to draft the right equipment. So you can see this is a ray dump truck, and we have tippers also, and this is a side dump truck. So these are all possible depending on the application. So on the embankments, we can use these side dump trucks. You can dump the earth on the sides, both the sides, to form the slopes on the embankment. And the dumpers, high-speed pneumatic wheeled trucks actually. Dumpers are very important for transporting the material on site. So loader will load on the dumper will take and dump it wherever to be dumped in the spoil tips. And the short chassis, it will have strong body, and loading, hauling and dumping is very fast and compared to other equipment, suitable for short hauls on rough roads, and especially where a shuttle movement is required. That means pick, dump and all. So this is a dumper. So this is a short haul dumper actually. So you can see this. Hoisting equipment. Hoisting is lifting a weight from one location and moving it to another location. So we have different types of hoists. We have builder hoists, we have crane, and big projects such as construction of dams, industrial building require hoisting equipment. Includes bucket hoists, temporary elevators, builder's hoists, passenger hoists or construction elevators, jacks, winches, chain hoists and cranes. So crane is the only single machine which is as a single piece is capable of providing three-dimensional movement of any weight. So these are the hoists. You can see this is a builder hoist and passenger hoist, and multi-purpose hoists are nowadays very common. Like you can see here, you can shift the material as well as the workers. So these are very important nowadays for any high-rise construction. So this is a simple builder hoist. You can see for lifting the material. Even for a 5-storied construction, you can use this builder hoist for shifting the material like bricks, mortar, and all any material. And this is a builder gantry hoist. So this you can use it after construction also. So shifting of the material. So you will be tilting the bucket by pulling into the building line. So this is very builder gantry hoist actually. Next is the cranes. We have classification as stationary or derrick cranes, mobile cranes, and we have overhead or gantry cranes, traveler cranes, and tower cranes. These are all the types of cranes we adopt in construction sites. So derrick cranes consist of mast, a boom, and a bull wheel on which the boom rotates about a vertical axis and supporting members, and electrically operated, diesel operated, or diesel electrically operated cranes. And the boom can revolve through 360 degrees that we see. And this crane is used for heavy loads up to 200 tons even. We have used up to 300 tons also. So this is a crane which can rotate, and these are jib cranes. This is a telescopic crane also. So it is wheel mounted, and similarly we can have crawler mounted also. And gantry cranes, they serve large areas, particularly in casting yards. In construction sites, we require this kind of gantry crane and freedom from floor obstructions, and it will move overhead. And three-way mobility, like you pick, move horizontally, longitudinally, and vertically also. So widely used in erection, foundry, steel plant, storage yards, and different types of industrial works. Consists of two main parts, the bridge and the crab. Crab is for moving and bridge is for shifting the crab. And the bridge consists of two main girders fixed at their end, and the crab consists of hoisting gear mounted on a mounter on a frame, and the frame itself is mounted on another set of wheels. So this is the gantry crane. In yards you can see this, and also in casting yards we see these cranes, gantry cranes. And we also see these overhead cranes in the workshops or factories that we design. So gantry crane is a very popular thing we design in this in the industries. And monorail overhead cranes. This is another where you have the fixed movement of the material. So we use this monorail cranes. We also use these monorails in powerhouses and all that, where we have to shift a transformer or shifted generator, turbine, and all that. So traveler cranes, we have traveling or bridge cranes have their crabs moving on girder, which are supported on legs, and the legs are capable of moving on track slide. And tower cranes. So we see this is most popular nowadays. Actually, we should not decide on any, nowadays I see the builder without thinking, there are consultants for mechanical material handling. In Hyderabad, for example, there is one CMAC, Construction Mechanization Consultant, CMAC consultant. So they only specialize in suggesting, so you cannot use tower crane for every project. Similarly, you cannot use builder hoist for every project. So depending on our time schedule, depending on our type of construction, they advise the right machinery to optimize the cost of moving the material. So tower cranes are actually a derrick crane mounted on a steel tower. And tower cranes are usually used for industrial and residential high-rise building. And these are commonly used for assembly of industrial plants with steel structures. The main parts of tower crane are undercarriage, slewing platform, tower with operator's cabin, and jibs. The tower normally is constructed with lattice structure. So this is a typical tower crane. These tower cranes can go up to 100 meters height. And there are different types of self-erecting tower cranes and shifting tower cranes and all, which I'll be showing now. So this is a tower crane. Even in a busy area, somebody asked, so you can use the tower crane very effectively, but safety aspects to be taken care very well. And conveying equipment, transporting the material from one place to another. Even in industries, we see these railway lines will be laying for 200 meters, 500 meters for carrying the material, and can be done horizontally, vertically, or inclined. That is pipe conveyors. You see very steep conveyors in coal mining also. So when the equipment does horizontal conveying, it is known as conveyor, and when it does vertically, it is known as elevator, and inclined we use pipe conveyors. So utility, it increases the output, it facilitates continuity in operation and results in time saving. And we used even in laying of the floors, we have put the rail. Suppose I have to do 300 meters long flooring of 100 meters width. How do you take the material? You better lay rail and then put it, or you can put a monorail and move the bucket on the monorail. So we have to think of all the options and arrive at the most efficient. So we have belt conveyor, we have screw conveyors, we have bucket conveyor, we have aerial transport and pipe conveyors. So these are the belt conveyors. I think we are running short of time as usual. I thought there are less slides, but there is a lot of information to be covered. So it consists of belt running over a pair of end drums. These idlers are supported on conveyor frame, and the middle sag provided in the belt prevent the spilling of the material. So this is the belt conveyors, which are used mostly in our crushers. And screw conveyors, this also is used in the crushers. We have these screw conveyors. And we have these bucket conveyors. So this also is used in the crushers. So the length of these conveyors are limited to 25 meters due to the weight of the conveyor and the strength of the chains that is required. And aerial transport, that is, we see these ropeways, that is also called aerial conveyors. You can see this large in the mining, you use this kind of aerial conveyors for long distance. And transit mixers, this is what we use up to 3 cubic meters to 9 cubic meters in the construction sites for transporting the concrete and also mixing the concrete while transporting. So these are the transit mixers, and capacity of the vehicle, output of the vehicle, and the site characteristics. And we have these concrete wheelbarrows, like you put the material into it and shift it. These are semi-manual. And these are concrete bucket. When you have huge concrete to be done, we use this kind of concrete buckets, mass concrete. And we have truck mounted concrete boom pumps. Also we use for quick concreting, because normal pumping, you have to shift the pipes and all that. And this boomer placer will be the fastest concreting system. So now I think these are all the various machines that we use, the cranes and pneumatic cranes, and we have these different material concepts. So you have to, nowadays we have this augmented reality and virtual modeling of these even construction sites. So we have to model the construction site, and in BIM we have this LOD 5, LOD 4 for planning even the construction. So you can see how the construction moves and imagine and plan the machinery positioning without hindrance and a very safe handling of the materials. So this is the PIC tagline, and then this is the tagline and place. So you can see how the material moves, and you can, this is the plane of movement of the boom actually, jib in the crane. So this is we have to plan for the movement, space planning, and movement planning and safety planning during construction is very important. So we even have to move the people to work. So these are the cranes for handling holding the people. So we have used this also in our construction site, whether it is for facade work or erection of the downtake pipes and all. And even inside interiors also, we use these cranes, and outside for finishing the roofs and all, we use this kind of cranes. So you can see the movement of the people can be at from any position to any position. And then we have these short machines. You can see the various photographs. So we can use these catalogs for planning the positioning of the machines, the space required for the machine, and the movement of the material also can be planned considering this. So in tower cranes itself, we have so many types. We should be luffing jib crane and luffing crawler crane, drawing luffing jib crane and horizontal jib crane, a frame tower crane and a flat top tower crane, climbing tower crane, self-climbing tower crane, and mobile crane, telescopic jib crane, and overhead jib crane. So there are so many types of these cranes, so we cannot think of one type. So we have to assess the requirement of the site very clearly, study all these types of cranes available, and then plan which is the most cost effective and energy efficient for our given site. So this is a luffing jib crane. That means you have that cable, and nowadays even the developing technology, even this what you call drones also can be adopted for future actually. So I just picked this picture to show. And this is a hammerhead and this is a luffing jib. So these are all the different types of cranes that we use in the sites. So this is the catalog. It's not clear actually, but you can use this catalog for, they'll always in the cranes, depending on the angle. So you have the difference between luffing crane and normal jib crane is, luffing crane you can have a movement of within the vertical plane also, and then rotate and then come down. So this is the thing of this luffing crane, in which the capacity of lifting capacity, lifting hook capacity is given in the table for every position, that is a longitudinal position, angle position, there will be difference in the capacity of the crane. So you have to consider this. We have seen accidents. Yeah. So this is, you can see this different positions and different capacities of the lifting, and you can see here also in this diagram. So, and this is a normal jib crane which will only howl within the horizontal plane. So you can use this kind of horizontal cranes also, and luffing cranes also. So this is the self-erecting. You can see here, this is a self-erecting, and here it is through building itself. You will be lifting the crane. This is used for very tall buildings or skyscrapers, where you cannot have suppose Burj Khalifa you take, you cannot think of 800-meter tall crane. Some cranes up to even 100 meters, 150 meters, you can have the building propped cranes, towers actually. Building propped, so it cannot be self-standing. 100 meters, 150 meters, it will be very uneconomical. And imagine the counterweight required at the base for such cranes. So here you can see, this is the crane supported on the building itself as the building moves up. So here also you can see, somebody was telling lift shaft. Yes, in lift shaft we can put this crane tower and support to the existing structure itself. And here this is a moving on a rail. So the crane can, one direction movement can be on rail. So this is all we have to consider. Suppose we have multi-tower, so 4 towers. Do you erect 4 cranes, or the same crane can move? Depending on the schedule of the project, we decide which type of crane we adopt. You can see here, the tower is supported on the base frame, and the base frame is on the rails, and it moves. So this kind of a crane will erect the crane actually, and we have multiple cranes. And this is the material handling. You can see the conveyors and this tower cranes and the self-erecting tower cranes. So this is the capacities. How here you can see at the tip 61.9 meter, the capacity is 3.61 tons. And at the 40 meter, it is 6.6 tons, and at 21 meters, 12 tons. So depending on this, we have to plan the capacity of the crane. And here you can see the luffing crane. And we have these industries, overhead cranes also, or workshops, overhead cranes. So we have to consider this. And here you can see the counterbalance, the weight required. And here you can see that there are multiple cranes for in the same site. So you have to plan very carefully the number of cranes required and different types of cranes for different applications. So mainly nowadays, even for shifting the formwork. Earlier days, we used to have 3 feet column box. Nowadays, we have even done 6 meters column with 1 meter dia. We are seeing in the buildings also. And to move such formwork, you cannot dismantle completely and move it in small places. So the weight of column box itself can run into 2 tons. So we need a crane even to, after stripping, moving the box and placing in the next position. And this is the unloading of the materials at the site. So containers also will be using the cranes for shifting. Here you can see the self-erecting crane. So it starts with the lower height beginning in the beginning, and as the building moves up, goes up, it will be shifting and lifting itself to a higher heights. And here you can see how the crane moves on the building, on the construction progress, as the construction progresses. And tower crane luffing boom, you can see this is in the vertical plane, it can shift and tilt. And these are all the various horizontal jibs, lattice, and you can see high-rise construction. We make the drawing depending on the diameter, the size of the boom and height of the crane is decided depending on the size of the building and height of the building. And this is the three-dimensional representation. So this space, you have to keep it under safe zones, actually. And this catalog gives you the capacity of the hooks and how it moves. So within the restricted, so these are mobile jib cranes also can be used in depending on the application. We have manufacturing in India also, and nowadays the CMAC that I have told, there are many companies who are manufacturing the crane in India. And this is the another gantry crane which is used for our precasting yards, casting yards. And this is another mobile crane with a telescopic thing. And these are attachments. The JCB, which we are talking about, it is not just backhoe. It will have the forklift kind of arrangement. It will have the scraper arrangement. It will have the auger for drilling and even for drilling holes into the concrete. So these are all the different attachments that are available in things. So let us be aware, you need not buy for each of this one machine. So you have to buy the buckets, spare buckets and spare attachments with this same JCB you can use for all the applications. So you have to verify the catalogs for all these details. And this is a typical batching plant, you know, the conveyor you have, silo you have, hopper you have, and all this will be using in the construction. And here you can see the JCB being used as a forklift, you know, lifting the material. So you can see various applications of why we go for luffing crane. Here you need not increase the height, but still you can reach the height by shifting the. So you can see multiple placing of this crane and usage in the high-rise construction. So this is another horizontal jib crane with a counterweight. And you can see the base weight also we have to provide. Normally these crane suppliers ask us to supply this concrete. So we have to make this concrete before even we start the construction. So these are all the forklifts, and this is a gantry crane. So you can see the movement of the material can be on this monorail cum gantry crane. And passenger and material hoist. So nowadays we have this multi-purpose hoist. So even the reinforcement you can carry on this actually. They give us separate attachment up to 12-meter long rebar. You can shift it using this cabin itself with that attachment. So this is the platforms, you know, now this is the best. Earlier we used to have this, what you call, scaffolding, huge scaffolding, and this is a replacement to the entire scaffolding. So your project schedules will be drastically crashed with the usage of this kind of platforms. And this is a simple hoist. And these are the builder's hoist. You can see passenger hoist cabins here and material hoist cabins. And this is a common site for safety. We put the scaffolding and hoist within this so that people can go. And this is that application of the platform, mobile platform. So people can work standing on this platform. And this is a material hoisting. And now these are the launching girders, which are used for bridges. So these are custom designed girders. So you have specialists for supplying these launching girders and designing. It's a huge construction engineering. Nowadays we are seeing complete span being launched using these girders. So this is the application of this. You can shift the whole precast girder on this and it moves by itself. So this is another, you can see box cell, also single span being transported using this, and it moves on its own. So this kind of launching girders are also part of this material handling systems. And this is, you can see, a robo kind of thing. It holds the whole thing and moves forward to place in the next span. And monorail we have seen, and this is a monorail, linear monorails and circular monorails we use. And this is the stringing equipment. I was talking about pulling. The conductor, here you can see the conductor which weighs at least 10 to 20 tons. So it is pulled and placed into a span of 300 meters span. How do you erect the cable? So these pullers are used for erecting the conductor cables. And these are the dumpers we have seen. And these are the casting yard gantries and crane gantries. And this is the catalog of the crane, access ladder, and walkway platforms are all very important, which we design in the industries. And even in small construction sites, we have to plan for the safety. So this is the three-dimensional view of a gantry girder. So this is a gantry girder, and we have gantries and a crab moving trolley. So these are the things, and hooks are very important in this. And you can see this is a casting yard. Segment of a box girder is cast and shifted using this kind of heavy gantries. This is pile driving. You know, rigs, we have the rigs, pile driving rigs up to a capacity of 600 tons. And you can see this is a spun concrete precast pile, and we can just drive the pile of 40 meters within an hour's time. So that kind of capacity of this. So it is also material movement. Instead of placing concrete with all our methods, you can precast. Of course, depending on not every application you can use this precast, but definitely in marine clay kind of situation, we have different methods of driving the piles. One is hydraulic pneumatic driving, and other is jettying also. So these are all the precast piles. You can see the rig driving the precast pile. So that's about today's talk of material handling. Now I'll take the questions. If you have any questions, I have 2 to 5 minutes. I can take the question. Have to import? No, as I mentioned, we need not import all this from China alone. We have Make in India. There are many companies who manufacture this equipment. Any other questions I missed? PPT, earlier I used to share the PPT because I used to use the camera of the phone. So it was not clear. Now I'm sharing the screen. So that's why I'm not sharing PPT. But still, if all of you feel that the PPT will be helpful before the thing, I will try to do that. Yeah, can tower crane be erected? Yes, it can be erected in the lift shafts as I have shown. And in case of congested site, boom excavator can be used rather than dragline. Yes, every machine has its own specialist application, as I mentioned. So, are there any more questions? Yeah, thank you, Anand Dave, and uh, Tamil Selvan. Thank you for how much design our structural elements to counterweight this equipment. Yeah, it runs into 100 tons kind of counterweight, PDF. What will be the effect of stability of the building when the cranes are provided? Yeah, we have to check that during construction. We have to verify the stability. These instruments are very costly, so if someone starts business, how to reduce the cost? Yeah, you can hire these equipment. All this, there is equipment bank actually. Builders Association of India is maintaining equipment bank machinery. China make can come anywhere and gives a. Are the crane towers restricted rotationally? Yeah. No, you can rotate. You have different types of tower cranes which can rotate also, which can shift. More about the bridge launching girders. In fact, there is a special lecture on construction engineering where I explained all that. This is only to cover the types of equipment, material handling. Presentation before class, it will be useful. Yeah, I'll try to do that. What is the boom length? Because I'll be able to share it in the morning only. Because I'll be working in the night, and morning last time I will check once and then always share. Even before today morning also, at 6 o'clock I've added some slides. So that keeps happening. Can you share the report you had written for LEAP Series 1? Oh yeah, sure, definitely. Rachana, I'll do that. Very informative. What about the machinery used for dismantling? Oh yes, of ground self-flown tower, which is in residential area. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, tower dismantling is the toughest thing actually. It is more difficult than erection. Please tell how to consider crane loads in high-rise building. Yeah, we have a minimum 1 ton to up to 10 tons. Now we have 25 tons capacity tower cranes also. Yeah. Most of the machineries are cheaper in China. Not exactly. There are problems associated with cheap rates also. You have 100 rupees shirt, you have 1000 rupees shirt. You have to decide which shirt you want to buy. What are the requirements after procurement of machinery? Some machines require RTA registration. In fact, we had one problem. You know, this transit mixer, Ajax, you know, the mobile batching plant. We have purchased, and these RTA people have asked for RTA registration, because any moving machine you need to have the RTA registration. So thank you very much. I think you can continue to ask the questions on my phone or WhatsApp or my email, and request you all to join our Telegram group of Civil Engineers of India. So thank you very much. I'll be closing this sharing.